A Fox News alert officials in Santa Fe, Texas, just giving an update on the massacre at the high school in that town that left 10 people dead and 13 more injured. One of the officials just providing that update joins us now. Let's bring in Galveston County Judge Mark Henry. Judge, thank you so much for talking to us during such a difficult time.
Thanks for having me. Glad to do it.
I just want to commend the law enforcement there, first of all, for getting this guy alive, because that has helped, obviously, immensely in trying to put these pieces together. Let's just talk about what a heroic effort was made by law enforcement to wrap this thing up before it could have potentially become much worse.
Absolutely, and I just described the officer as a hero in my own words. Even though he doesn't work for the county, he ran toward danger knowing it might get him shot, and it did.
The suspect told police that he didn't shoot students he liked so that he could have his story told. So I'm not doing this guy any favors by mentioning his name to tell his story. I will, though, talk with you about how by waiving his right to an attorney, he just did the prosecution when he ultimately goes to trial a favor by confessing to the shooting. And justice will be served if he's convicted. In Texas, can you tell me, on capital murder charges, he will face the death sentence, correct?
I am told by our district attorney, Jack Rody, that no, he is not eligible after a Supreme Court ruling saying you cannot put a 17-year-old, cannot hand him a death, capital murder charges cannot result in a death penalty for a 17-year-old.
And what do you think of that law?
I was surprised. I did not know that that was the Supreme Court ruling, but that's the law and we'll have to live with it.
I mean, okay, so that is the law, but can't laws be changed? I mean, if somebody is going to premeditate a murder and selectively choose those who he liked not to kill, it seems to me that person should be punished no matter what his age. Of course, if he were 10, we'd be talking about somebody different. Right. We're talking about a 17-year-old.
Please don't misunderstand. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's just, but it is the law.
Well, hopefully the law will change, because after something like this, I think, if anything, a deterrent should be out there that if you are willing to pull this, you will lose your own life. He apparently had written in a journal that he wanted to commit suicide after this. It's pretty surprising when a gunman goes into this, they expect to die in the end by police fire. How did that not happen in this case?
He told, and I don't recall if it was either the arresting officer or an investigator he spoke to, that he intended to kill himself, but then chickened out at the end.
Yeah, well, not a shocker. I mean, somebody who pulls something off like this is a true coward. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas was referring to the Florida school attack and a siege at a church last November, and he said this, and I'm quoting, "Unlike Parkland, unlike Sutherland Springs, there were not those types of warning signs. We have what are often categorized as red flag warnings, and here the red flag warnings were either non-existent or very imperceptible." Now, here's my observation. This suspect did not have a criminal history. That's where the red flags were missing. But there were warning signs all over his social media accounts, which were taken down on Friday. On Facebook, there was a photo of a black T-shirt with the message "Born to Kill" on it. On his Instagram account, he followed a number of websites with names like Sick Guns and Guns Pictures. Did his family, what is his family saying about his social media? Did his family not monitor his social media? He's 17 years old. I would imagine the family would be aware that this was online.
I have no idea. I have not spoken to his family. I was with the governor when we got that same briefing yesterday, where the investigators told us that they were unable to locate much other than that one Facebook post. You know, as time goes by, they'll probably have more of an opportunity to look. But the governor was basically repeating what we were told by investigators, that they just didn't have any warning signs, and the criminal history being one of them.
Yeah, but I mean, warning signs have got to be seen by friends and family. And if you're on Instagram, it's public. So anyone you're friends with on Instagram or Facebook, they saw it. The parents should be seeing it. So this says a lot about parents who need to monitor their kids' social media, because those are warning signs to me. If I saw my kid post about shooting and I was born to kill,
I could not agree with you more. I'm the backup judge for juvenile court in Galveston County, and that's my biggest frustration, is the lack of parental involvement.
The shooting is also, by the way, I want to ask you about this. Governor Abbott has been prompted to call for new thinking on gun laws. Every time this happens, you know, people get frustrated. They talk gun control. Now, in this particular case, in this state, such as faster background checks, okay, or strategies to keep guns away from people like this guy who pose an immediate danger. This kid used his father's guns. So no gun law would have prevented him from getting his hands on his father's gun. So then what would you recommend?
Well, that's up to state and federal leaders. We're not a policymaker in that sense.
Yeah,
but
I know.
completely agree with you that if they're going to ignore the laws, what law can you pass that'll make a difference?
Well, then where is the accountability? Because if these parents owned guns, okay, they legally obtained their guns, I'm assuming. We haven't heard any more, so I'm just going to assume he legally obtained a gun. You have every right to have a gun. But if you're a parent and you have kids, they should be locked up. At what point do parents get held accountable if their weapons are actually accessible by their kids? I mean, if you go hunting and you've got supervision and you know how to handle that gun, fine. But I feel like more needs to come out of this family. I mean, what are the parents saying about their responsibility?
I've not talked to any investigator that has spoken to them, so I can't say anything with respect to the parents. But again, I agree with you. I'm a gun owner. My guns are both locked in a safe and then locked in the closet that the safe is in. So there's no way that my girls at 2.5 years old can get to them. And if they did, there's no ammunition in there. So that's the kind of responsible gun ownership that I would certainly advocate and hope parents would,
100%.
Would emulate.
100%. I mean, you have the right to bear arms. You have the right to protect yourself. But you also have a duty to bear arms responsibly. And that's the part that just sickens me when I hear these stories.
It's no different than driving responsibly. You're absolutely right.
Or drinking. All right. Thank you so much, Galveston County Judge Mark Henry. We really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you. Good luck.